Hello, my name is Mark, current president of Fencing Club,
I'm Sean, current instructor of the Fencing Club.
and today we're going to talk to you about pressure and control. Now, most of foil is going to be trying to figure out your opponent and what they're doing. They could be pushing very lightly, barely touching at all. They could be trying to muscle you out of the way, or they could just be doing a respectful back and forth trying to figure out your opponent, right? These are the three basic categories you're going to engage with, and they could either be medium guard or high guard, sometimes a low guard. This still counts as light. But the amount of pressure that you can feel your opponent giving you is going to dictate your response. If he's very light with pressure, this is perfect for a beat to get him out of the way, because he's not resisting. So he might actually go pretty far offline. If he's pushing like hard, you can't beat out of the way, right? This doesn't work. But if he's very light, maybe a little more timid, maybe a little more defensive or reactionary, a quick little beat, that could work for you. If he's pushing really hard, I don't want to contest this right away. Maybe I have a disadvantage. Maybe I'm trying to pull, he's trying to push, and I just can't get back in. This is when you're going to want to disengage. I'm going to make the quick little U under his sword, getting out of the way, and letting him go by. Likewise, I'm pushing really hard, he's going to disengage, and look at how open I am. As I bring my sword back, he's already going to be thrusting, and he's going to hit me before I can do anything. And the more complicated is medium pressure. If they're pushing really light, it's easy. Pushing really hard, you know what to do. They're overcommitting. But what if they're a little more smart, a little more savvy? This is going to take the most work. You're going to probably have a lot of techniques you're going to use. You might try beats. You might try disengages. I suggest trying for a bind and wind. That's typically what I try and do. If they're medium pressure, I'm going to try and get an advantage and not overcommit, but I'm going to try and get my point online. Likewise, they're going to do the same thing, try and bind with me, so I'm going to have to bind around. And this is kind of a back and forth. This is kind of where you get the essence of foil fencing and all the technique comes into play. So remember, if it's light pressure, you beat. If it's heavy pressure, disengage. Medium pressure, bind and wind. Another thing is posing a threat. Pressure and control is not just about your blade work, but also how much you're threatening your opponent. So if you're lined up, if my blade is out of the way, he's not really threatened right now. He has full range to attack me, right? Because he has confidence, I guess, in his own ability to attack me. Versus if I'm instead pointing at his face, especially without helmets, don't fight without helmets. If I'm pointing at his face, he really doesn't want to lunge right now. He has to deal with my blade first. So this is kind of when you're forcing your opponent to react to you, that is where the control comes. If you're very defensive and you're not posing a threat because you want your opponent to attack you, this might be when you try and come in for a counter strike of some sort, or a parry and a riposte. If you're being non-threatening, if you're being very threatening and you want your opponent to defend, this might be when you try and do some counter maneuvers. And that's all for pressure and control. Thank you very much.